Am I the a-hole for telling my roommate his girlfriend can't stay over every weekend after she ate all my food again? So I own my own apartment and rent out the second room to a buddy of mine. Everything was cool at first, but lately his girlfriend has been staying over every weekend. I wouldn't mind so much if it wasn't for the fact that every time she's here, she helps herself to my stuff, mainly my food. I meal prep for the week and I buy my own groceries. It's not like I don't share sometimes, but I've noticed that after every weekend she's here, a bunch of my food is gone. Snacks, leftovers, even stuff like my eggs and bread just gone. Is she taking them home? What? I've tried hinting at it, like casually mentioning how much food I go through, but it keeps happening. Last weekend, I had a really long week after work, so I treated myself to some nice takeout and planned to save half of it for lunch the next day. The next morning, I opened the fridge and it's gone. I texted my roommate and he said, "Oh, my girlfriend was hungry, so she ate it. Sorry, man." That was the last straw. I told him we needed to talk and said that while I'm okay with her visiting sometimes, she can't keep staying over every weekend and eating my food. I told him it's not fair, especially since she's not contributing to groceries or utilities. He got defensive, saying that since he pays rent, she should be able to stay over whenever, and I'm making a big deal out of just a few snacks. I stood my ground and told him she needs to stop coming over so often unless they start buying their own food and being more considerate. Now he's pissed at me and I'm getting the cold shoulder. Am I the a-hole for putting my foot down after his girlfriend kept eating all my food? At first, when I was reading the story, I was like, oh, maybe she just has bad manners. But I'm starting to think that her boyfriend is telling the girlfriend that she's allowed to eat this food, or that it's not a big deal, or that the roommate doesn't care, that OP doesn't care. Because there's no way in God's plan, unless you're like a true big bag, why are you, even if you're a big bag, like be a big bag with your own food and at your own house with your boyfriend's food. Why are you going to someone's house and then you're eating their entire fridge? And there's nothing I hate more than like when you had a long week at work or a long day at work, you come home, you put something somewhere, especially something to eat, and it's not there and someone eats it. Like my raggedy siblings do that to me all the time, and that just makes me want to literally explode. That pisses me off so bad. So imagine, like, I'd be okay with my siblings because they're my siblings, but I'd be pissed if a roommate's girlfriend or a roommate or someone else was going into my fridge and touching my stuff. And then she's eating snacks, she's eating meals that have been prepped, and on top of that, she's eating like leftovers. Is she not? Damn, like, how? Okay, I'm sorry, but I don't mean to be rude, but how big is she? Like, you don't have to eat everything. Is she a vacuum? Am I the a-hole for being the reason my grandparents refused to help my dad anymore and laughing when he and his wife complained about it? My mom died when I, 16, Mel, was 7. She left me an inheritance that my dad was put in charge of. The money was supposed to be for my future, and nobody was supposed to touch it unless I really needed it, and it was pretty specific. I read through it 5 months ago when things went down. My dad got married again when I was 10, and he has an 8-year-old stepdaughter, now a 4-year-old daughter with his wife, Louise. Is it Louise or is it Louisa? Anyways, my half-sister was diagnosed with a rare condition when she was 2. It was always clear something was wrong, but they had a really hard time figuring out what it was. Doctors would say she'd be fine when she was older. This condition isn't life-threatening, like she won't die from it, but it could potentially leave her permanently disabled in a bad way. A few months ago, they found out about this hard to get into treatment for it, but it was expensive. There is ways to get help paying for it, but it takes longer. So my dad decided he would use the inheritance mom left me to pay for it. He tried asking me, but he was going to do it anyway. And when I said no, he told me as much. Then he shamed me for saying no, for putting college before the help of my half-sister. Louisa was in the room with us, but she wasn't talking before I said no. She asked me how I could look at my half-sister at the life she will have if you don't do something and say no. I told my dad I would never forgive him if he took the money. After I read her the will, grandparents had a copy. I brought up the fact that it was only for my needs. It could be spent before. He told me mom was dead. Damn. He told me mom was dead and he'd hope she'd understand. I told him I never would. He told me I'd understand when I'm older. I told him I hated him, and I told Louisa she better never speak to me again because I find it disgusting she'd encourage stealing from me and take my mom's money. I told my grandparents what Dad did. They're my mom's parents, but had stayed friendly with Dad, and there were times they would help him. They shared stuff with him all the time, and Grandpa would look at Dad's car for free if anything was wrong. That all stopped when I told them Dad couldn't figure out why until he confronted them about it last week. They told him he had some nerve stealing from me, taking their daughter's money and spending it on his child. My dad was mad they didn't understand and support his decision. He confronted me about it and complained what I did. I laughed and told him I had warned him I would never forgive him for it. He asked how I got to be so heartless and selfish. I told him I never forget what he did. Am I the a-hole? You guys, like, I'm so conflicted. I'm very conflicted. Like, granted, the dad is dead wrong for, like, I hate when people treat children like they're dummies. This money comes from his dead mom who left it for him, and he's just stealing. Like, he's not even asking permission. He's not begging for it. He's not, like, asking kindly. He's not, like, bawling his eyes talking about, oh, my, stepdaughter's gonna die. Like, he's not asking kindly. He's just assuming just because he's in the guardian of this child, he can just take the money. But at the same time, would I help out? I don't know. Like, I feel like if it was me, I would just give the money because, like, I would feel bad if somebody was, like, if somebody wasn't feeling healthy and I could be the one that helped them. I don't know. What do you guys think? My 26 male girlfriend, 24 female, told me she is pregnant, but I am sterile. Backstory, I got into an accident after my college and will never be able to have kids. None of my family members know of this. They know about the accident, but about this. I have always wanted to be child-free, so it did not affect me much mentally. I have finished my master's degree last year and never dated before. I got a very high-paying job directly through campus placements. My parents immediately wanted me to get married and after getting a job, but I wanted to work on myself and explore a bit. They said no, and I said that it was my wish. All my life, I did what they wanted, and for the first time, when I talked against them, they were not happy. This was last year, and they gave up after COVID started. So I picked up some dating apps and went through them, but no luck. Then my parents introduced me to a family friend's daughter, and we clicked kinda. Looking back, I was a fool. She said yes to anything I said and never complained about anything. I felt kind of weird about it. I wanted her to express her interest, but she always said she was interested in whatever I do. Well, I did not think much about it. I said I won't have kids ever, and she surprisingly said okay. I was like, damn, she's probably the one. It's very hard to find a partner who's child-free in my country, or at least I thought. But we were in initial stages, and I have not told about my accident. Long story short, we had intimacy a month ago. I used protection because safety first. The next day on, she started ghosting me a bit. I thought it was due to my performance in bed and wanted to give her some space. Then she texted infrequently and only replied okays and Ks and one-line answers. I thought maybe she wanted to end the relation and was sad but left it at that. Yesterday, all her family came to my house and she claims she's pregnant and the father is me. Needless to say, I freaked the F out and wanted to collapse on the ground. I did not say anything while they were talking about marriage and stuff that needs to happen because I got her pregnant. Please advise me on the steps to take now, Reddit. Okay, so he updated. Update. Let me start out by saying I'm very, very grateful for all the Redditors who took their time to read and give me advice. I was overwhelmed by the amount of comments and how many of you said it may not even be my kid. Looking at it from different perspectives gave me much more insight on the whole situation. I called my boss and took today off. I called up some clinics to get tested and was given a slot on Friday afternoon. Then I went to the store and bought some pregnancy tests and asked only her to come to my place tomorrow, today morning. I also called my parents and before I said anything, my mom asked me if I had any good news. I was shocked by what she said and asked me what exactly she was talking about. She then played dumb and I knew that the situation was more F than I thought. I cut the call and cried all night till 3 a.m. Grown-ass man crying for the first time since 8th grade. She came today morning with her parents, and even after I told her to come alone, they were under the impression that I was going to discuss engagement plans with them. I told them to wait outside and called her and they threw a fit. I told they could all go back or let her alone come in. They said okay. I took out the pregnancy test and gave it to her and told her to prove that she was actually pregnant and told her where the bathroom was. She started screaming at me. Never done this before. I was shocked at this. Then she went out the door and called her parents in. Now everyone is screaming at me in my own home because I asked her to prove the pregnancy, not even a DNA test. I tell them all to get out, and 1 hour later, my parents and all they came to my home and they spilled the beans. She was never actually pregnant, as many redditors said. My parents were afraid that I was getting old for marriage and wanted me to marry and give them grandchildren. They said that in arranged marriages, no need for the people to actually get to know the spouse because parents choose only the best for their kids. They planned this all and were only waiting for me to have intimacy with her to do this. I broke down and cried. I broke down and cried again. All my life, I did exactly what my parents wanted, always scored high and never asked for anything. I told them to get out and never talk to me again in between crying, and they said parents know what's best for their kids, and I should do what they say. Then I got extremely angry and told them to F themselves in my native language, which was very bad. For once, I think they knew I was serious with them, and they all left. I blocked them all before sending my parents a message to never contact me in my life, even if one of you is dying. Yikes, OP is trying to stand on business. I love that for him though. Cried for some more time, went through some dog videos, and went through all my messages on Reddit. And I feel like I owe you guys this update because it was you guys who helped me do this. That is all, and I hope you have a wonderful day. This was a couple of years ago. It was like, I think in 2021. I think I even read it before, but no, every time I see it, I always get shocked because the audacity some parents have never ceased to, amaze me because every single time, like, some of these people are crazy. Why would you want to force your child to be in a relationship that they don't want to be in? That's literally weird. Like, I don't understand this fascination, like this obsession some parents from certain cultures have with their kids being married or their kids being with a spouse. Like, if this person doesn't want to be with someone and be in romantically with someone, then leave them alone. Hell, some people might be gay, some people might be lesbian, some people might not want to be with a partner at all, some people may not find who they wanted. Like, there's a lot of things going on in people's lives. Like, you just never know.